Hands down, the thing that has caused more chaos, more heartbreak, more pain, suffering, unnecessary drama in my life has been the crippling and devastating fear of abandonment. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bianca. I'm a licensed mental health counselor who specializes in cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is something that I see every single day in my therapy practice. And this is something that I've struggled with for the majority of my life. I don't remember a time when this fear and this feeling wasn't present. I struggled with it as a kid really badly. And as I've grown older and older, it honestly has just gotten worse. And what I wanted to talk about today is, where this comes from and why and what can you do about it? Because like I said, this has caused more chaos, more trauma, more heartbreak, more devastation than almost anything. For the people that I've talked to about this, like clients of mine, and just from my own experience, you're basically walking through life every day with this feeling of today's going to be the day that everyone I love finds out the truth about me, and they're finally going to leave. They're finally going to figure out that thing. And we can't even put a label on it. We can't even identify what that thing is. But there's this like wrenching feeling in your gut that they're going to find something out about you, which is typically related to how bad you are, or how defective you actually are, or how unlovable you actually are. They're going to finally find it out and figure it out, and they're going to leave. And your deepest fear is finally going to be realized that you never were good enough. You never were lovable. You never were anything. You really were as bad as you thought you were. And what does this do? When you're walking day to day with this feeling, when you're walking through life, tiptoeing around everybody, walking on eggshells because you're terrified of being found out, what do? You people please. You abandon your own needs. You don't have needs. You're like, if I don't need anything, then nobody will have to put any effort out towards me, and they won't get sick of me, and then they won't abandon me. You won't ask for anything. You put everybody before you, and living day to day doing that, it's exhausting. Because the more you do that, you do it because you're afraid of being abandoned, but then you grow this deep sense of resentment that why do I have to put all of this effort just to be loved? And why does nobody actually love me? Why do I feel like nobody is ever going to love me? Nobody knows me, nobody sees me. So you're kind of in this negative feedback loop of everyone's going to abandon me, so have no needs. But none of my needs are being met, and now I'm resentful. But when you're in the midst of doing it, it makes perfect sense. I'm not good enough. I'm defective. I'm bad. Don't need anything. Just be there for other people, and maybe, hopefully, if I do enough for everybody else, they'll love me. They'll want me. And then maybe my needs will be met. It's a losing game. And like I said, it's something that I've struggled with for the majority of my life, and I can't authentically sit here and say that I don't have it anymore, because I do. I was on a call with my business coach the other day, and he and I are extremely close, and I broke down sobbing because I was like, I'm so scared that you're going to find me out and you're going to leave, or you're going to see how bad I actually am, and you're going to realize, that I was actually hiding who I really was this whole time, and you're going to want nothing to do with me. And what he said after that was one of the most beautiful things. And this is the thing that if you fear abandonment, this is the thing that you need to hear from other people, which is that I'm not going to leave you for being who you are. I'm actually going to love you even more because you're showing your authentic self. You're showing who you truly are. Now, granted, not everybody's capable of that. And I think that's one of the things that makes the fear of abandonment so insidious, is that there are going to be people who leave. There are going to be people who don't like you, or who don't want to be around you, or who do learn new things about you and realize that it just doesn't vibe with them. But when you struggle with the fear of abandonment, you don't see it as, yeah, we just don't mesh well, or yeah, I'm just not their type of person. It's visceral. It's like, oh my God, they found me out. And now my deepest fear is realized. And now, because this one person didn't like me, it's validation and it's evidence that now nobody's going to like me. Everybody's going to have this feeling about me. And having those few people in your life, I'm so lucky in that I've met some really incredible people, like my business partner, my business coach, certain friends of mine. I've had the opportunity to meet people who I have been vulnerable with, and I have shown pieces of my truth to, and they didn't run away. They didn't abandon me. They didn't leave. And for someone who has a fear of abandonment, this is hands down the most critical thing that you need to do in order to start healing this wound. It's going to be hard at first, because that fear, that just innate core belief that if I tell them who I am, if I show them who I am, they are going to leave, stops you from ever taking a chance. And this is why I think doing this in a therapy setting, at least to get started, is one of the best decisions that you can make. It's how I got started doing this. Learning in a safe space like that, because a therapist isn't going to abandon you. And if they do, they're a terrible therapist. But a therapist is going to actually be able to help you feel safe enough to express, feel safe enough to show your true colors, to expose yourself, basically, but showing you that it's safe to do so. Brene Brown has this really incredible metaphor that she talked about, and she was using an example of her daughter when her daughter was being bullied at school. And she said, building trust and learning how to feel safe with other people is like putting marbles in a marble jar. People build trust with you, and you build trust with people in these little micro moments that build over time. So if you think about it like a marble jar, you take a little bit of effort and you put a marble in the jar. Somebody puts a little bit of effort towards you, and you put a marble in the jar of the relationship between the two of you. And slowly over time, the more that happens, the more the jar gets fuller and fuller and fuller. And that's how trust is built. And so if you're somebody like me who struggles with this feeling that everybody is going to leave me if they find out the truth. The best thing that you can do, and this is exactly what I did, was you do it in these little micro moments. It's these tiny little moments of courage of putting yourself out there. Not in these big ways. This doesn't mean fully expose everything and hope that the person can accept your blatant truth. That's not effective. That's actually probably going to get you abandoned. But it's these little moments. It's when you're not okay, saying you're not okay and seeing that nothing bad's going to happen to you. It's making a small request of, if someone offers you food and your truth is you don't really like it, but you feel obligated to take it, saying, you know what, I really appreciate it, and I'm kind of nervous to express this. I actually don't like this food. Are we okay? And letting you see that nobody's going to hate you. Nobody's going to abandon you for you telling your truth. Over time, when you can do that, you can start expressing the deeper truths, your deeper core beliefs, your deeper fears and vulnerabilities, because you'll see that this person or these people have earned the right to hear it, and they've shown you that they're not going anywhere. And that is hands down the greatest gift that you can give to yourself, because over time you'll see that you're not going to be abandoned. But there are going to be people in this world who love you, not despite your vulnerabilities and your insecurities, but they're going to love you for you. And you're never going to get to see that if you're hiding and masking your entire life. And I wish I got started on this journey earlier. I wish I had safe people in my life earlier, because I would have saved myself so much heartache and so much heartbreak and so much just unnecessary chaos. But you start where you are. And that's the thing that I tell my clients all the time. Yes, you probably would have loved to have started this sooner, but you didn't. You weren't ready at the time. You didn't have the awareness, or you didn't have the capability to get started at that point, but you can start now. And yes, it's going to be hard, and it's going to be so goddamn uncomfortable. The other day, I was bawling my eyes out to someone I've known for 7 years, my business coach. He knows me better than anybody. And I'm bawling my eyes out saying, I'm scared you're going to leave me. It's okay. It's okay to have these fears. It's okay to have these concerns. It's not okay to live your entire life having these one-sided, unfulfilling, not good relationships because you're not actually allowing your needs to be met. I've navigated this in my own life, and I've healed so much, and I still have a ways to go. But I think the thing to remember is that as long as you allow yourself to let yourself do this, as long as you allow yourself to be okay knowing that this is probably going to be a lifelong journey, you stop having resistance to it of like, when is this going to end? Because you realize that it's okay that this is going to be part of my life, and I'm going to continuously work at it. Just like learning in general, you never stop learning. You never stop growing unless you make the decision and the choice to stop. The people who have the best lives, the most fulfilling lives, the most holistically well-rounded lives are people who develop a mindset that I am forever a lifelong student. And if you allow that to be true for you, you'll get to see how much more exciting and fulfilling and loving and wholesome life can really be. When I let myself expose myself, for lack of a better phrase, when I let myself put myself out there and acknowledge my needs and acknowledge my fears and share those with people who earned the right to hear it, my life opened up. so much. And the same is possible for you too. And if this is something that you want help learning to do and navigating, please reach out, send me a DM, Evolve with Bianca on Instagram, TikTok. You can follow us on Evolve Ventures, so evolveventurestech.com, or the Evolve Ventures podcast. We have so many videos there talking about concepts like this. But if this is you, you don't have to live this alone. You don't have to suffer with this alone. There are ways out of it. And if someone like me can get out of this, you sure as hell can too.